Hey everyone, Dr. Eric here from ADIO Chiropractic. So thankful for you to join me tonight on this webinar that I'm sure that is impacting a lot of people and maybe even more now. I mean, yes, depending on when you're watching this, but if you're watching this right away when we are broadcasting this, there's a lot going on in the world, a lot more stress. So we're seeing a lot more anxiety. We're seeing a lot more with overwhelm and self-esteem issues going on. So thankful, again, so thankful that you are able to join me tonight as we go into this topic of anxiety, self-esteem, and overwhelm. And particularly, this can be for everyone, but I would say probably more in our teenagers than anything. So let me, let me just reintroduce myself. My name is Dr. Eric Krzinski. I am a pediatric and prenatal chiropractor with years of experience working with kiddos, with teenagers, with adults who struggle with anxiety, self-esteem, and confidence issues. So over the years, what I just kept on hearing was the same struggles and the same challenges from parents over and over again. And I realized that anxiety in their kids that the anxiety in their kids that they were experiencing was the major root of a lot of self-esteem and confidence issues. So what we know how impactful it can be for their entire life that anxiety, self-esteem, confidence can have. We want them to have self-esteem and confidence to chase their dreams, to accomplish things that they want to be able to accomplish, so they're not constantly getting down on themselves. So one of the biggest what at stakes with anxiety is the stress that it puts on their system for such a young age. I mean, they're going through a lot at a very young age. And we see that this same stress in 8-year-olds with anxiety as the 17-year-old with depression and the 27-year-old with fertility challenges. That stress develops over time. And as we do, the results of the stress that just keeps on piling and piling and piling on our kids and on their brains and nervous systems. And the sooner that we can stop this cycle of stress in our little ones, the better outcomes that we can see for them going forward in life. So the main topic today is anxiety on the outside versus anxiety on the inside. So the top 5 signs of anxiety in our kids is 1, sleep issues. Okay, starting bedtime at 7:45 and still up at 10 p.m. That's stressful. That's a problem. And so many parents deal with that. So many parents feel like, oh, that's just part of having a kid. And mornings become some of the hardest times, from little to zero motivation in kids, to trying to wake them up 15, 20 times, and they still struggle. Coming into mom and dad's bedroom in the middle of the night. It's something that I hear so often. So many parents struggle with. To the night terrors, to sleepwalking, to sleep talking. These kids and these teenagers, and maybe even you as an adult, can't shut down their brain. Their brain is go, 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 go. So sleeping issues is number 1 that we see. And this has to deal with the gas pedal and the brake pedal that I talk about so often. So when we talk about the gas pedal and the brake pedal, well, we have two parts of our nervous system. We have this fight and flight protective mode, this gas pedal, and we have this brake pedal, which is the growth and rest and relaxation. Well, when we're trying to sleep, our brain should be shutting down. It should be getting and really engaging in this rest and relaxation, this parasympathetic brake pedal part of the nervous system. But if our kids, our bodies are overwhelmed with stress on the brain and the nervous system, it keeps them in this sympathetic fight and flight protective mode, and their brain doesn't shut down. It constantly thinks it's still being stimulated and still trying in this protective mode. And that's not, nobody is going to be getting chased by a bear and want to sleep and get that restful sleep that they should. So that is number one. Anxiety is just a perfect example of the gas pedal stuck on in our kids. So number two is instability of emotions. Reactions are overboard. Something that you're like, why are you getting so emotional over something so small? And obviously everyone reacts differently, but if there's a lot of emotions and reactions to such a little thing, why? What's going on with their adaptability? Why aren't they adapting to these little situations that most of the time anybody would have adapted pretty well to? They're very emotional. So they cry easy and they cry often, right? They don't like to do anything. Motivation is hard in these kids. They're miserable, no motivation at all. And the thing is these kids, they have a very high IQ. Most of the time, they are very intelligent people. It's just emotionally, they're not caught up on it. So there's this gap between physical age and the emotional mental age of these kids. There's that gap, and when they both don't match, it's crazy. It's crazy in the body, because the body is a self-regulating organism. And if we can't self-regulate because we have so much discrepancy, so much stress, our emotions are all over the place. So this emotional brain versus body age is a crucial thing. When growing in a fight and flight protective mode, the mental growth becomes slower than the physical growth of these kids and of these teenagers. And we can see there are emotional developmental milestones that need to be hit in order to progress with this forward movement or momentum of maturity. So number three is inflexibility. I mean OCD tendencies. They get aggravated, high-strung, very defensive. They're type A stress, lots of self-pressure in these kids, performance pressure. They got to excel at what they do. And if they get a B on a test, the world is over, right? High expectations on themselves, disappointment and lows following those if those high expectations aren't met, or sometimes even if they are met and they put so much stress on themselves, they still hit the disappointment and lows because they feel like they could have done a little bit better. Changes in schedule and routine, it is completely throws them off track. They need that structure. And if something gets thrown off, it's like you just threw them a curveball and they weren't expecting that. They were expecting a fastball and you threw them a curveball. So number four is GI stress and immune stress, hormone stress, and it all ties together. So nervous, we have this, these kids that maybe always get sick, especially when their bodies get more overwhelmed. So during more stressful times, we have this nerve that I talk about a lot, and not many people know about it. I think more people are starting to find out about it. Research is coming out about it, but it is the vagus nerve. It is our gut brain connection, or more specifically, our brain gut connection. Before there is a gut brain connection, there is a brain gut connection. And if there's stress along that, we can get some of this, what seems like nervous stomach or issues, or just upset stomachs more when they're stressed. And that's their brain talking to their gut during these times of overwhelm. So this nervous system, immune, endocrine connection or control is very important for all of us and for our bodies to function to an optimal level. So number 5 is, you'll see that we have low self-esteem and confidence in these kids, in these teenagers, and maybe yourself. The social awareness is lacking. They're living in their own bubble, this awkwardness. And you can probably see this so often. And so often we probably think about it in the general society, we probably think about it as that's a normal thing. Why? Because it's so common. But does common mean normal? So it's just overwhelming. The self-doubt, the confidence is lacking in these kids. And even though they're very intelligent, they're probably very great at what they do, they just don't think they are. They just want to be this, we just need for them to be this kid again, for them to have happiness. No parent wants their kid to be overwhelmed with anxiety and stress and self-doubt and confidence. Every parent wants their kids to live their best quality life, to thrive in today's world. When we see so many kids that aren't, that are struggling. So some tips and tools for you as parents to help your kid, help your teenager, maybe even help yourself, depending on where you're at and what's going on. So first is balance that fight and flight state. If we try to do all of these things from the outside in approach, but we don't try to balance our internal system, it's going to limit the tools and tips and how much you can benefit from them. I see so many parents that come in, and just from maybe on a different realm, like with, say, their kid is not dealing with anxiety, but something else, and they need speech and OT, and they've done these things and they've seen some improvement, but they hit this roadblock. It's because they didn't till the soil. We were doing all these outside in approaches when really we didn't address the foundation of how our bodies work and perceive our world, and that is through our brain and nervous system. So when we till the soil and get that foundational component ready, what I've seen is these parents that have come in, their kids have hit standstills with other therapies, and then they start initiating and controlling that fight and flight response. When they go back, or if they even need to go back, those strategies and those tips that they had or they've done before are just so much more effective, because now the body is able to perceive what's happening around it more because it's not perceiving it to be in this stressed out state. So we need to, by getting them out of this fight and flight or balancing this state, we help to increase the rest, the relaxation, the happy, the healthy person that our kids are, and that maybe that we are too if we're struggling with it also. So number 2 strategy or tip is create routines. We need to help them prepare, but not to stress them about what their days, what's going to happen in their day. A lot of times when our kids get overwhelmed, predictions out the window. Like they can't visually predict what's going to happen, and that's where routines come into play. So the more stressed our kids are at first, that's where routine is going to be so much more important at that. So we need to help them organize their priorities and see them all at once, so that, but in sequence too, not scattered around. So yeah, we can have, this is what we're going to do, but if it's like, we're going to do this one first, then this one, and this, that's still not really, it's somewhat routine, but it's more structure is going to be better for these kids. It's going to be less overwhelming for them too. And like I've been saying, like maybe even in ourselves, because we so often see anxiety in adults also. And it's because, they probably have had how much stress accumulating onto their body, and then to have that anxiety and worry over their kids, it overwhelms them too. So number 4 is movement. Movement is, as much as it may seem like moving around, how does that create calmness? It does. Internally, movement creates calmness to our brains. So natural ways of dealing with anxiety and stress. We need to get our kids, and it's hard sometimes because they don't have that motivation. And starting small, we don't say someone's going to train for a marathon. They don't go out and they run a marathon day 1. They start small. We need to start small with these small goals and build up until they feel more comfortable getting more active and getting there. So, and you participating with them, the family participating too, can help them, because again, if they feel like isolated or like they're getting attacked, like go out and do this, but then no one else does it, they may feel attacked, like, why am I the only one that has to do this type thing? But movement is great for them. And chiropractic helps here too. Chiropractic helps with the movement, but more specifically, even with the number 1, which is the balance, that fight and flight response. So those are 2 big things. And why chiropractic helps with this movement part is because chiropractic helps to stimulate a part of our body, of our nervous system, called our proprioception. Proprioception is information getting sent to the brain. And if we have abnormal or lack of motion in our body, it alters the input to the brain. And if we alter the input to the brain, we alter the chemistry, we alter the output to our organs, to our glands, to our tissues, to our hormone system, to our gut, to our immune system. So chiropractic helps to stimulate the proprioception, which helps to create more balance within the nervous system and to create better connection, better chemistry, better, again, connection with the gut, with the immune system, with the hormone system, with every single organ, gland, and tissue in our body. So if you have a kiddo that is struggling with anxiety, and you've done other things. It may not be that those weren't what was needed. It just maybe was the wrong time. We just maybe haven't tilled the soil of getting their foundation, their internal body, their nervous system and brain ready to benefit more from those other strategies or tips that you've already done. Maybe we just haven't looked at that nervous system yet. That's your action step, is find out what's going on with their nervous system. And that's what we do here. We use state-of-the-art scans in our office to look at how the brain is taking in information, how the brain is functioning and communicating with every single organ, cell, tissue in the body. If we alter the input to the brain, we're going to alter the output going from the brain. Chiropractic helps to improve that communication getting sent up to the brain so that we can improve all the information coming away from the brain. So the state-of-the-art scans aren't putting anything in the body. We're not taking anything out, like I said, and we can give you that exact answer of, is there a brain and nervous system issue that we can help with or not? So that's your next step. Reach out to us by phone, by email, by text, by direct message on one of our social media platforms. We are here for you. We are here to support you, to support your kids, and to provide you with more answers to what is going on with your kid, and most importantly, action steps and hope. Because it is overwhelming to continually do something, but to keep on hitting a roadblock. And to think, I'm doing all of these things, but I can't feel like nothing's sticking, nothing's helping, or it helps a little bit, but then nothing more. It's overwhelming. And you start to lose hope yourself as a parent of, am I going to be able to help my kid? We want to provide you with more hope. Is there something that's just missing that can help with everything else that we've done? So again, this is your action step. And I hope that you benefited from this virtual workshop and got information. If you have any questions or anything that you want me to answer, don't hesitate to reach out to us. We are here for you. We are here to just provide you answers and action steps and hope. So thank you again. Have a great night, and we will talk soon.